Hello, everyone, and welcome to class today. I'm Mr. Hoven, and again, I apologize, but I will not be in classes today. I've got meetings all day, so I am in the school, but I will not be in class. That being said, before we jump into class material, for those of you that want to stay and make up the quiz or correct the quiz and go over those corrections, today after school, I will be here. So feel free to stop in after school. I'll be here. We can go over the questions, get you the correct answers, get some more points added onto those quiz scores. So if you're here and you want to stay after, I will be here after school to go ahead and go over quizzes and anything else that you might need, whether it's homework, quizzes, anything. So now let's go ahead and move on to class today. So what we're going to start with is we're just going to quickly review and make sure that everyone has finished the work from yesterday. So what I'm talking about, and please make sure that you have this, we're going to go to this really quickly, is this sheet right here, World War II propaganda analysis. This is something that we started yesterday. Most classes all should have started. So why don't you go ahead right now, whoever's in the room, whatever teacher it might be, please go ahead and pause me and make sure all the students take out this sheet. It should be in their binders from yesterday. Pause me, have them take it out, and then come on back. All right, so you've all had a chance to take this out. Now, I understand that classes are at different spots, and for the substitute, whoever's in the room, please go ahead and just gauge it based on where the majority of the kids are. If there's more time needed, please take some time to finish these. Remember, all of your information that you need to work on this, if I scroll over to Schoology, World War II, and then I scroll down a little bit further, and I go to World War II propaganda, and then the worksheets here, and then the two pictures are here. Don't let the shadow touch them, and we're fighting to prevent this. So that's kind of what we're working at right now. So based on where the class is, please go ahead and have them work on it. If it takes more time in some classes than others, that's great. Just leave the notes on how far students got on the sub-notes that are here, the sub-notes that are provided, just so I know where to start people and where to catch up classes tomorrow. So for the first part of class, you're going to be given some time. If the class needs it, if not, if most students are done, we'll go over it tomorrow. So just go ahead and move right on. So right now, if the class needs it, and I know periods, I'm thinking period 6, period 9 will probably need some time. And if period 4, 5, or 8 need time, please go ahead and give them that right now. And again, gauge it based on where the kids are at. And if you're not sure, just ask them, students, where are you at? And then go ahead and move forward with working on that. Once all students have completed this, or the most students have completed this, then come back to me. Pause me now, work on the propaganda sheet. Once the class is finished, just do a quick check and make sure everyone's good, and then come back here and we'll go over further steps. Pause me now and get started. All right, we're back. So that means that you finished up the World War II propaganda. Now, this week we're focusing a lot, this week and next week, we're focusing a lot on war on the home front. So what's going on at home while all the soldiers are overseas and fighting? And to go along with that is going to be a focus not only on just propaganda, which is a huge part of it, among other topics we're going to get to in the next week and a half, but also the work that women and minorities did, whether it was women working on the home front to help make war goods or minorities and their involvement in actually the fighting. And the big question that we're going to be focusing on today, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you again. So give me one second. Okay, so now we're here. So we've done the propaganda. Now we're on to this, women and minorities, the home front. So the investigative question that we're going to be focusing on today, and it's written up on the whiteboard, is for American women and minority groups, was World War II a time of progress? So were they advancing with their rights, with their civil liberties? And we're going to be looking to determine if it's a yes or if it's a no. So this worksheet is on the front table, and there are two versions. It looks very similar. The only difference is the documents that groups will look at. So for right now, just make sure everyone gets one. And if you and the people you're in with your group don't have the exact same paper, that's okay. There's something coming up with that. So go ahead and pause this right now. Pause me anyway, and hand this sheet out. It's on the front table. Make sure every student gets one. Pause me now and hand it out. All right, so now we're back. So we've got this investigative question. For American women and minority groups, was World War II a time of progress? So before we jump into the group brainstorm, what I need you to do is you're going to get in your groups based on the worksheet that you have. So what you'll do to determine, you'll look at your sources, excerpt from employment of women in emergency period, women war workers, so on and so forth. There's these 4 documents, and then in the other worksheet, there's noon mess line at camp for Japanese Americans, Native American section gang working, and so on and so forth. There's 2 different. So take a look right now and determine which one you have. And then what you need to do is you need to, this is for the students, you need to find 3 to 4 people that have the same document for you to group up with. Now, no switching of papers to get to with whoever you want to be with. Whatever you have, group up. Group of 3 or 4, no groups of 2, and no one should be working on their own. So group of 3 or 4 that have the same worksheet. How do we tell? We look at the documents that are on that worksheet. There are 8 different ones. Some people have 4, other people have a different 4. Find a group, and whoever's in the room, please just, you're going to pause me. You're going to have them find a group. New groups, bring all of your stuff with you. Once you're grouped up, you've all got the same worksheet, then come back to me and we'll continue with the lesson. All right, so we're back. So you should have found a new group of 3 or 4, not 2, definitely not 1, based on the documents that you'll be observing in class today. So now let's go ahead and go back to the worksheet. You should all be in your group. I'm going to go ahead and go back to that worksheet. So give me 1 second. All righty. So here we are. So now we've got our worksheets out. We're in new groups. We should have something to write with, and that's about it. You should probably have your Chromebooks with you today, but that there's some spares over in the side table, so you can get those in a second. So the group brainstorm. In your group, you're going to identify, and this is just a list, information we already know about this topic and information we still need to know to answer the question. Now, wait, Mr. Hovind, what are you talking about? What question and what information? So you're looking at American women and minority groups. Was World War II a time of progress? So what do you already know about this topic? It could be very, very limited, and that's okay, but I do expect some bullet points and some listing going on right here. Now, for information we still need to know to answer the investigation, again, this is what we're looking to answer. Was it a time of progress? Did they advance with their rights during World War II, and did they stay even after the war ended? So we're doing 2 sides. First, information we already know about this topic, and second, information we still need to answer the investigative question. For the substitute, please give them, about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how well they're working. If they need more time, great, give them more time to answer this. Once this has been answered, once these 2 sections of the box have been answered, go over it as a class. Spend some time talking about, okay, ask the question, information you already know about this topic, brainstorm, have the students write more things down if they hear something that they didn't have. Then go on to information we still need to know to answer the investigative question. All right, so I'm going to review one more time. You're going to be given 3 to 4 minutes, 5 or more if necessary, to answer these 2 parts. Do these 2 parts right here. I'm highlighting them. Information we already know about the topic, information we still need to know to answer the investigative question. Again, the question is right up here. This should not be involving notes. You don't need notes to do this. Just use your brains. What do we already know? All right, so that's what we're working on. Please make sure, this is for the substitute, that you go over this with the group once they're all finished working, and then they can move on. All right, so go ahead and go over that, give them time to work, go over, and then come on back. All right, so we're back. Now we're on to the next section of this. Directions. As you analyze the accompanying sources, complete the organizer below. The information you're investigating will help you answer the investigative question for this activity. So I'm going to stick with the first worksheet, and then there's the second worksheet as well. They're just different sources. This is the point where we need to go to Schoology. We need to go down to World War II. World War II. Give me a second. And then we're going to scroll down to the new folder, which is way at the bottom. War on the Home Front, Women and Minorities Investigation. The top is, this is the worksheet itself. The rest of these are all of the sources. So you'll just have to make sure, hover your mouse over it to find it, and then it gives you the whole long title. But before we can do that, let's have everyone get to a Chromebook and make sure we're on. So go ahead and pause this video right now and have the kids get to this point. Again, you're going World War II. I'm going to scroll up so you can see. So individual societies, World War II, War on the Home Front, Women and Minorities Investigation, orange folder all the way at the bottom. Once everyone gets there, come on back to me. I'll give you a few more directions, and you're home free to work the rest of class. Pause me now, make sure everyone gets here, and then come on back. All right, so we're back. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're looking at these sources. So I'm going to go back in your groups. You've got 4 sources to look at. They give you the poster elements. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. This is, there we go. My bad, my bad. So source, basic information about the source. So I'm looking at excerpt from Employment and Women in Emergency Period. So I'm going to go back, look for it. Excerpt from, women, right here, employment of women. They're not necessarily in order. Just keep that in mind. So you click on it, you open it, and you read it. So it's not, none of these are super long. The font's really big, so it makes it look longer. You're going to go ahead and read it, and then you're going to answer the questions. So let me go back to women and minorities. So basic information. What type of document is this? Is it an interview? Is it a speech? Is it a book? Is it a pamphlet? Who created it and when? What's the date? Who was the creator? What was its purpose? What were they trying to get across? What was the point they were trying to make? Who is the intended audience? Who are they trying to talk to? Then, once you've done this, and this is done as a group, the groups you moved into, that's who you're working with, you go to the source's overall message. How would I summarize the content of the overall message of the source? Does this source convey that women and minorities saw progress, or did they make no progress at all? And that's your second part. All right. And that's what you're going to have to do when we come back to class on Wednesday. We're going to be answering that question and then having a little debate about it. So we'll get to that. Now, how much should we write, Mr. Hoven? I think for each bullet point or each question under the basic source information, you should have something written. So that's the first one, type of source document it is. This should be this document is a book, or so on and so forth. And then just continue on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next one, blah, 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 and then blah, blah, blah. Again, you're writing this, so you're going to be writing, and it might take up more room. But the idea is, especially that first box, you should be pretty much filling all of this information in. Like, that box should not be too empty. Just keep that in mind. So for the rest of class, this is what you need to accomplish. And if you don't finish it, that's okay. You're going through the sources on your worksheet with the group. You all should be in a group, 3 to 4 people, with the same sources on the worksheet. There are 8 total. You'll have 4 of them. So you find them, you open them, you read them, and you answer questions about them. Now, make sure you're following along for this too. For this too, what you should be doing is you should be answering these 4 questions here, and then the source's overall message, go on and do that. Do this first, do that second, and once you've completed that, please make sure that you move on to the next one. Don't jump too far ahead without going anywhere further until it's all completed. If you don't finish, we'll work on it tomorrow. And that is going to be class today. Again, I will be here after school. If you have any questions, you can come in and see me. Make sure that gets done. If not, we'll work on it tomorrow. No homework. Have a great day. Thank you and goodbye.